All good? Right. Yeah, men don't understand. Yeah, basically men don't understand attraction. So there's a conclusion right there, right? So let's talk a little bit about this, all right? What does this mean? What are the things that the men don't understand? I'll keep it to 3 things. I'm sure men don't understand more than 3 things, but let's just keep it to 3 things for today. The 3 things are, number 1, when to spark attraction. Because attraction is a process. They don't understand when, in that process, they're supposed to spark the attraction. Actually, some of them didn't know that there was such a thing as sparking the attraction. Okay, so, but there's a process, there's steps, and the men don't know when to spark the attraction. Here's another thing they don't know. They don't know how to spark the attraction. They don't know how. And one more thing, they hardly know what to say. When it comes to this business of attraction, the men, in many respects, are clueless. And that's what I have for you today. Okay, thank you. Let's talk about the first one. When to spark the attraction. I'm going to take you into and review the steps of this process. The purpose of the presentation today is not really the steps of the process. The purpose is to talk more about what the men don't understand. But in order for you to understand that part, you'll need to understand that there is a process. Here it is, okay? This is the process of attraction. It has 4 stages. If you need to take notes, go ahead. 4 stages to the process. First is the opening. Hello, okay? That's the first thing. What you first say to, let's say, to a girl that you happen to like. All right? You say hello, the opening, the first words that come out of your mouth. Okay? So that's what I refer to when I talk about the opening. Next stage is this stage. The sparking of attraction. It might sound like I've missed a stage. I haven't. You might think, where's the conversation? Where's the, getting to know the girl? I haven't missed a stage. Why? Because the getting to know the girl, the having conversation over coffee, is actually stage number 3. You have your conversation in the 3rd stage. Say hello, you do something mysterious to spark attraction. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then you have conversation. And finally, whatever the next level you choose is up to you, okay? Whether they want, to be more than friends, that's completely up to you. But if you follow these steps, this is how you get to that next level. Now, what normally happens is, okay, before I tell you what normally happens, so I'll just repeat. When the attraction happens, okay, when the sparking of attraction happens, it is immediately after the opening. It's immediately after hello. You've heard the line, you had me at hello, right? That's what it means. He didn't need to have a conversation with her. He had her at hello. That's how soon you have to spark the attraction. And so immediately after opening, and I'll say it another way, before conversation. So the men didn't understand this, and women, judging by the looks in your faces, you're also wondering, how is this the way it is, right? Okay, I'll tell you how. So just to be clear, the sparking of attraction is immediately after the opening, but before the conversation. Okay, now what normally happens is, and this one you will recognize, what most boys do, and I use with the word boys instead of men, is because if men understand this, they are men and not boys. But the men that don't understand this, they're still boys. Okay? I'm not criticizing anybody, I'm simply saying that's the way it is. And women, you will appreciate that the men will learn how to do this kind of stuff, okay? What boys normally do is they have their opening, hello, whatever, often a little bit awkward. Awkward is okay, it's fine. But then they'll go into this thing called conversation. And of course the conversation will be quite typical. What are some of the things that you would say? You say, what do you do, and things like that, right? So the conversation will go round and round a bit, and drop off the chart, and then come back on. And then, after that, you let the girl talk. No, after that, some of you keep on talking. straight into this area. That's where you go. Okay? So in the normal process, you open, you have a conversation, and possibly friends. Or friend zone. Okay? The category friend zone. And as the guys in the forum know, they don't want to be in the friend zone category if they happen to like the girl. Right? If they happen to be attracted to her, they don't want to be in the friend zone category. Is there a next level after the friend zone? Of course there is. There's always a next level. Yeah, pretty much. Can you recover? Yeah, that's not the topic of my presentation, but it is recoverable. Not easy, but recoverable. So the next thing you don't understand is how to spark the attraction. Now this is where it gets interesting. How is this done? Now I'm not going to do a workshop on how it's done today, okay, so I'm not going to explain too much, but I'll tell you the areas that men needed to be aware of in order to do this. In order to attract anyone to anything, right? Salespeople, in order to attract your customer to the product or to the company, you've got to deliver on a few things, right? You've got to deliver on the things that the client would be attracted to, right? If the client's not attracted to it, you're not going to make the sale. It's the same in this process as well. So guys didn't realize that they had to deliver these things. I think they realized they had to deliver some things, but they didn't realize what they had to really deliver. They have to deliver on the things that women are attracted to. So what happens then is guys misunderstand what this means, as guys often do with stuff, right? They, they show off the car, they show off the condo, they flash the credit cards, thinking that this is delivering on what makes them attractive to women. But it isn't. Deliver on the things that are really attractive. Well, what are they? Oh, by the way, I'm not saying money isn't attractive to women. It is attractive. But it is not the most attractive thing. If you find a woman who is attracted to money and that is her priority, find another woman, okay? That's my advice. The first thing, quite obvious, women are attracted to this, and this, and this, and this. Now I've broken them down, but really, it's one entire package. That's what it is. This is what they are most attracted to. Not so much in their heads, not so much like a conscious thing that they have a checklist. Oh, I want a man who is confident. I want a man who it's not like that. But I'm talking about the natural pulls, okay? Those natural magnets that they can't turn off. If you have the right polarity, you're in. Okay? So these are the things. This is the masculinity. Things like leadership, things like decisiveness, things that, like, you are self-reliant. All these things are very attractive. Really, not just in the short term, in the long term as well. Very attractive. And these are the aspects of being a real man. Why does she have these things, right? Really. And this is something that women might not even, be able to articulate. But it is real, right? They have this thing which I'm going to call the neediness test. In other words, they want to see whether you pass this test or not. Not to see whether you are, well, yes, to see whether you are needy. Now, if you're needy, that's not a good thing. Okay, let's just establish that right away in case any of you are confused. Being needy is not a good thing, guys. And the girl will have the neediness test. So if you're confident, you will pass several parts of the test. If you are self-reliant, you will pass more parts of the test. If you display leadership qualities, if you're decisive, you will pass more and more parts of the test. It's the neediness test. Keep that in mind. The neediness test. You have to pass the neediness test. Some of the things that passing the neediness test will communicate, will display to the woman, is that you are sure of yourself. That you are also self-amused. That you are unaffected really by what she says about you. Alright? And that you're comfortable with, with who you are. Just really comfortable with who you are. This is what passing the neediness test shows to a woman. All these things are means you pass the date. Now, she may not like you for other reasons, like maybe she has a checklist that, you know, you're not tall enough or what, I don't know, okay. But in terms of the real natural instincts, this is what we're talking about here. Now, men don't know what to say. They're always asking me, you know, what do I say? You know, they said, hey, I got a text that said this, how do I reply? I mean, you know, come on now. It's not about just the words, right? It's not about the words. It's about a mindset. And if you have a mindset, you will know what to say. But basically, what they don't know is how to flirt. When it comes to the sparking of attraction, they don't know how to flirt. If I tell them to flirt, they don't know what to say. They don't know how to flirt, they don't know how to tease, and they don't know how to do this with a girl. Now, guys will admit that they have banter with their buddy friends, okay? But they won't do that with a girl. What will they do? They'll do things like, what usually happens is something like this. They will display very impressively neediness. Instead of teasing, instead of flirting, instead of banter, they will display neediness. I'm going to tell you how they do it, okay? Speaking of the psychology of it, they will do this. They will compliment her. He compliments her. Natural, huh, guys? We say, oh, you're very pretty today, you're very natural. That's natural. You are displaying neediness. You ever think about that right now? You compliment her. Or you talk about yourself because you have no one else to talk about. You know, maybe boast about your achievements, things that you have. To try to show her that you are a real man, but you know, you are displaying, this is a display of neediness. Why? Because you need her to be impressed. That's why. You need her to be impressed by you. Impressed some more? That's why. It goes even further. There's another level to there's another depth to the neediness. Huh? And when you start to ask for permission, in other words, you actually ask her out on a date. Wow, you might be thinking, hey, otherwise how to get a date if I don't ask her out? Oh, I'm telling you, you can get dates without asking people out. You really can. You do not have to ask her out on a date. Or should I be more specific? The mindset of the way you communicate shouldn't be one of asking her for permission to go on a date. If you ask her for permission to go on a date with her, you are not displaying the kind of characteristics which you could easily display because you've got the opportunity. There are many ways to get a date. You can even say, hey, let's go dating. Is that asking? You're giving people a choice, of course. Of course. There's always the choice. You're not forcing, but it's not asking, is it? Hey, let's go dating. It's not asking. You're almost commanding, but it's not forcing. It's a mindset, okay? All right, what else do you do? You're dependent on the outcome. Her reply will be, so your emotional state will be dependent on her reply. Her reply is favorable, oh, your emotional state is very high. Her reply is no, you're rejected. So if you swing back and forth here, you are not the master of your emotions. In other words, you need her approval. You need her to say yes, and that will guide your emotions. Now, this is a display of neediness, and the guys don't understand this. I think this is true of not just the guys before them, this is guys everywhere. Do not understand these principles, right? And another thing you do is, you ask her for advice. You rely on her for decisions. Wow. Hey, but the ladies will always tell me, hey, what's wrong with guys asking us for advice? And I will say this. I say, look, you have a choice. Do you want the kind of man who leans on you for decisions and advice before he takes action? Or do you want the kind of man who assesses the situation, plans out the strategy, executes, all done before breakfast? Which one do you want? See, this is what I mean, right? It's not about all of these other things that we often talk about in relationships. It's very clear what a man should be. And when a man isn't a man, and you get this now, I'll always ask you the question, oh, what should I say? You know, I like this girl, she's your friend, what should I say to her? What kind of man been there? I've been there. I've done that. You know what I mean? I've been there. I've done that. It's not manly. You think the other person's your mother, is it? You know? Yeah. Self-reliance. These are all examples of men doing this. Men. We keep on doing this. And you know what? Women in the world, your mother, starting with your mother, then the other women around you, will tell you to do all the things that I've mentioned that you shouldn't do. You know? I'm serious. Women, you create the problem for yourself. They will tell you, oh, you must compliment her. Oh, how should I attract her? Oh, you must pay her compliments. You know, you've heard this advice, right? You've heard this advice. Pay someone. Pay someone. You pay with your manly power. That's what you pay with. It's a bit shocking to hear it, right? But that's how I understand it. Men surrendering their power. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there, but maybe a couple of minutes for any questions. Any questions you have about what I've just told you over this whole topic of attraction. There's one question that people usually ask, right? They usually ask this question. I actually prepared this one. So how to get permission? And the example was, you know, I'm sitting with her in the cinema and I want to, you know, hold her hand. So, you know, how do I get permission to do that?
Just do it.
Sure. And I'm going to tell you why. I can tell you why you just do it. But you can get rejected. If you just hold her hand, you can get slapped. Just because you hold her hand does not mean that's the magic thing that will change everything. No. You can get slapped.
Depends on who holds like if I hold
there is a depends, yes. There depends. If Christopher does it, no problem. What does it depend on? It depends. It's not about permission. No. It really isn't. This question about how do I get permission is not about permission. You do not need her permission to ask her out on a date. You do not need that. You don't need permission to hold her hand. You do not need that. Now, before you say, hey, but you know, you're going to force the woman? No. It's not about permission. Guess what it's about? Yes. If you have done your job properly and sparked attraction, you can hold her hand.
Is that best one?
So now do you see why the sparking of the attraction must come before the other things? If it doesn't come with the other things, before the other things, it's an uphill battle. Very difficult. Then you have to ask for permission to basically surrender your power, and then you become the slave. As many men do. I say it not just because it's funny. Many men do. And you know, I think I speak for the women of the world. Women don't really want that from a man. They want the real man, the real deal. Okay, anyway. Should you desire to talk about these things and you do not have any other place to talk about them, the forum is set up for that. Okay? So you can ask me about it later. But that's pretty much what I have for you today. When do we meet, or when do we do these discussions? Monday nights, 7:30. Okay, like 7:30 to 10 and beyond. Where I won't say where because it's my place. Okay, so and we do dinner as well as the discussion on Monday nights. Anyway, that's it from me. Back to you.
It's scary, Mervyn. If every man will do that, then let's say committed already, right? Attracted to committed as well.
I should say, what you do with the information I present is your business, not mine. I will not micromanage you beyond the